Super. Good morning. I think it's time and we can start. I think that we all had the first coffee, maybe someone the second. So we are fresh and we can start our first panel. First of all, I want to welcome to Struga first and to our first panel. It's our youth panel, so let all of us be youth, be energetic, and asking the questions will be interactive. I'm gonna try to see all of you here. I'm gonna check all of you here, so if someone want to ask something, so we are here, we're open for that. Before to continue with the panel, we prepare for you one short video, very beautiful video, and I propose to see it now and after that to continue. My name is Bojan Petrovski. I will be your moderator for the first session, for this first session today. So let's first see this video and after that to continue with the panel.
In the realm of possibility lies a world of wonder, where dreams embrace the boundless skies and hopes thunder. The impossible may seem alluring and grand, but it is impossibility that true magic stands. For what is impossible but a mere illusion, a mirage of limitations and confusion, while possibility is a canvas yet to be painted, a path yet to be charted, and fate yet to be fated. In possibility lies the chance to soar, to reach the stars and explore, to defy the odds and push beyond, and to achieve the extraordinary and respond. By 2030, we have an ambitious goal to be part of a widened European family, part of a stronger and more united continent. But is this mission possible? The Western Balkans region is a diverse and dynamic place, turbulent and fragile, but full of hope and potential. With its unique history, culture, and geography, this region has a crucial role to play in achieving this goal. As we delve into the narratives of the past, we are reminded of the fragility of peace, the resilience of the human spirit, and the transformative power of compassion. At the Prespa Forum Dialogue, we gather together to explore the possibilities and potential of this region. We'll tackle the challenges and opportunities ahead and discuss how we can work together to make this mission possible. So let us embrace the possible with open hearts and set an ambition of all that it can charm. For while the impossible may beckon and call, it is in possibility that true greatness shall sprawl. Welcome to Prespa Forum for Dialogue.
Really impressive and excellent video. So today we are having here a very excellent topic, very hot topic. We're going to talk about green issues. We're going to talk about my favorite topic, green transition, and especially it's very interesting that we're going to talk about where the youth in all of that. Before to continue, I want to invite Mr. Mehmet Jaku, Special Representative for Youth of the Organization for Security and Cooperation in Europe, like host to open this panel.
Thank you, Bojan. Excellencies, distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen. It is a pleasure and honor for me to address today in my capacity as Special Representative of the OSCE Chairman in Office on Youth. Let me thank the organizers for giving me the opportunity to further promote and advocate the youth views and perspectives. Given my broad portfolio, I will speak beyond the proposed topic on the youth engagement in energy transition. I will focus later on the sustainable future for all, because this cannot be achieved without the involvement of youth. Just recently speaking to the youth representatives of the Model OSCE in Vienna, I stated that the youth should not be regarded nor treated as the leaders of tomorrow, but the leaders of today. Let me repeat why I think this is important. Because we, the youth, we hold a unique position in shaping the world we would like to live in. A world that embodies the values of peace, security, justice, and equality. Our voices matter, and our contributions are crucial to finding innovative and sustainable solutions to the challenges we face. With this in mind, I'm particularly motivated to spread the word that this message from my hometown, beautiful Struga, I'm grateful to be in the position to amplify our voices. of future generations and across the OSCE region. Our organization has a strong focus and approach to the role and significance of youth. Youth has an important place in the Helsinki Final Act, preserving it till today. The OSCE Perspective 2030 initiative strives to integrate young voices across the dimension, debates, and adding values to the organization engagement to promote peace, stability in the OSCE region. I commend and support this initiative. It is genuine and forward-looking. Youth should not be regarded as an OSCE first, second, or third dimension. I see youth as all-dimensional, horizontal, and vertical. It goes beyond the OSCE as an organization and OSCE region's border. This should be a universal approach. For me, it is more than a process. It is a principle and a value. Most of all, is the right thing to do. As a chairpersonship, we are doing our utmost to include and integrate youth perspectives into our agenda on all levels. At national level, North Macedonia's Youth Strategy 23-27 follows this rationale, and its provisions aim to improve the socioeconomic status of the young people. Moreover, this document strives to create an environment that will enable youth to realize their rights, needs, and interests. We aim to lead by example, serving the cause of youth proactively, nationally, regionally, and also as a chairpersonship. As a special representative, I have several ideas and initiatives in my mind. With your support, I will spare no effort in promoting the critical importance of youth encouragement and, more importantly, empowerment. Let's join the forces to mainstream youth across all spectrums of society and trust young people with ownership and responsibility in our and their future. I'm sure they will find the way, their own unique way forward. This should be our mission for today and tomorrow, because it's about people and especially about the youth, because they hold the keys to solving the challenges we face together now and in the future. And I thank you very much for your attention.
Thank you, Mr. Žako. OSCE is always a partner to you in our country. In that direction, I want to introduce and invite Ms. Kristina Jaklievska, Deputy Minister of Environment and Physical Planning, keynote speaker, to give her speech. Kristina, please.
Thank you. Respected colleagues, distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen, let me state at the very beginning that we, the countries in the Western Balkan region, are sharing same objectives under the Sofia Declaration, which need to be achieved in a coordinated, sustainable, and efficient manner. We are working hard to improve the cross-sector governance and to support mainstreaming of green and low-carbon transition through public administration, reform, public financial management, economic reform program, and mobilization of our own resources. We have done a lot in developing strategic framework on decarbonization. We have set our medium and long-term decarbonization goals by adopting several important strategic documents, long-term strategy on climate action, adopting several important documents, national determinate contribution on climate change, integrated energy and climate plan, and national strategy on energy development. Our energy and climate policies are aligned. Let me underline that we have introduced for the first time ever 2 measures under the economic reform program dedicated on wastewater treatment and waste management, with perspective on further alignment of economic reform programs with the green agenda and depollution pillar. We have started to work on our national green agenda action plan, which needs to be developed by the end of 2023. It will address not just further assistance through the instrument on pre-accession, but also our intention is to include the local and national specifics and needs. Further on, in addressing the third objective on participation into the current networks, let me inform you that next month we will sign a cooperation agreement for LIFE program with the European Commission, which we strongly believe will intensify the possibilities on joint action and partnerships with the academia and civil society in implementing activities toward the green agenda goals. Towards the development of the economy-specific and regional awareness-raising activities action plan in all 5 pillars, including the reflection on the green agenda for the Western Balkans, in the reforms of the education system, let me inform you that we fully support the need on further alignment on the educational system to the potentials on green jobs. Also, the region will need educated experts on implementation of the requirements under the EU acquis in different spheres of education. Currently, we are working on environmental curriculum into primary and secondary educational system. The challenges of linking the decent job and climate changes are complex. They cannot be solved by linear problem-solving processes, and stakeholders cannot succeed alone. Ensuring a just transition requires a vision-driven network of innovations ready to develop responses that disrupt business as usual. Some of the results of a recent Eurobarometer survey on a fair and green transitions show that 88% of European citizens overall support the goal of a green transition that leaves no one behind, and 77% of Europeans feel a personal responsibility to act to limit the climate changes. Furthermore, 2 out of 3 young Europeans believe that it is important for them to be at work that contributes to the green transition. However, 45% of the young Europeans do not think that their current skills allow them to contribute to the green transition, although young people are indeed at the forefront of this transformation. Their courage and energy is decisive, and it is our responsibility to leave a better future to the next generation. The importance of engaging with workers and unions is essential in terms of getting young people into jobs that are meaningful and decent as part of the green just transition. Restructuring the economy must engage young people, and they need to be protected through the whole process. The green transition is already happening, and we are all proud of it. We must support the young people as the driving force of the green changes in our society, in developing innovative ideas and creating sustainable solutions. Today, together, we create our green future. Thank you.
Thank you, Christina. You mentioned a lot of important things, but I want to use my position here to ask you a very short question. How the Ministry of Environment is implementing the conclusions of the European Green Deal? We know that energy transition is one of the top priorities in that deal.
Well, I mentioned a lot of things about that already in my speech. We are trying to make our efforts to implement everything that is needed by our side. We are working on implementing the environmental sector in all other sectors and strengthening the multi-sectoral cooperation, since the protection of the environment cannot be solved only by one ministry. We need strong cooperation together in all sectors if we want to see the results.
Yeah, I think same that the cooperation between institutions is one of the most important things for doing the good job. When we are having excellent topic, we need to have great speakers. I want to introduce our great speakers experts for today. Here with us is Ms. Larisa Lojic, from the National Youth Council of Austria, and former European Youth Delegate. Welcome. Here with us is Mr. Nasser Bislimi, Program Officer in the National Democratic Institute India. Welcome, Nasser. Here with us is same. I was training for this. Melanie Yandel. It was good. Okay. From the Institute for the Danube region and Central Europe. Welcome. And the last but not the least, Vladimir Kostovsky, Secretary General of the Scout Association of Macedonia. So I think it's time to continue with the panel. First I will go with Ms. Larisa. When we are talking about activism and engagement, if we all want to change something, it's normal to want to be part of the system. From your experience, how our generation can become part of the decision-making process of the national and the local level, and how our future can be more sustainable?
First of all, I want to thank you for the opportunity to be part of this. It was amazing listening to the two of you. To your question, I think, is the microphone okay?
I think, is it the microphone? Is it?
Yes.
Okay.
I think it really depends what you see as being part of the system.
Is it okay now? Yes.
And it depends what you see as being part of the system. I think there's two sides to it. I think on the one hand, we have being part in the... Like this? Does it work now? Good. Problems, we find solutions. And yes, to start again, I think the question that we need to ask ourselves is what is being part of the system. I think there's two sides of it. I think we need young people, on the first hand, we need them in decision-making bodies. We need them to be decision makers. I think in a lot of ways, we already have young people that get the opportunity to sit on a table and maybe tell their opinion, but they are not the ones taking the decisions. So we need them in legislative, executive, in the government, in governmental bodies, from the local to the global level. I think especially when it comes to the climate crisis, and but if we want to build a sustainable future, we need big solutions for big problems, but the local councillor will always know what the local people need. So we need them in every step of the way. But I think civil society is also a huge part of it, especially if we look at movements like Fridays for Future. They pushed us to change something, and I think we always need these two parts working together, and how we can get active. I think we, as already mentioned by the two of you, we need to empower young people to be active. I think education is a really big part of it, because a lot of young people now, they don't feel like, why do we have to suffer under the problems that the generation before us made? But we have to kind of show them it's not a climate crisis, it's a climate opportunity. And even if it just sounds like a phrase, but that is how we need to use it. And we have to show them sustainability can be used in the sector of education, in the sector of jobs, in the sector of health, in all. It's looked at it very horizontally. So I think we need to start by educating young people from being from like school on, and show them they can be actively part. And then we need governmental bodies as well to come towards us, because we are on the streets and we are shouting and doing our best, but we need you to listen to us as well and give us the opportunity to not just speak our mind, but actually make the decisions.
Thank you. That's true. When I was the president of the National Youth Council, together with Vladimir, the main change was to create active local youth councils. We know that the change is coming from the local level first, then go to the national. So, but we will go back to that after a few minutes. Mr. Nasser, we know that the Green Agenda is the top priorities of India work here in North Macedonia. Can you tell us more about the activities and how you are supporting the Green Agenda and youth engagement in this country?
Thank you, Boyan. Hello, everyone. First of all, I would like to congratulate the organizers for starting the Prespa Forum with a youth panel, and also on a very important topic, energy transition, which is like one of the key ambitions, national strategic interests of the country. And also for picking the venue, because this is the only hotel in North Macedonia which is powered by solar energy. So it's really good to have this conscience that we are not contributing too much to the carbon footprint. When it comes to the National Democratic Institute, so NDI defines its work as being responsive to keep citizen priorities. So we follow trends, and we try to reflect that into our programming. We support, we work primarily with parliament, political parties, CSOs, and government, but also like work with specific groups such as youth and also topics, thematic topics, which is currently we are supporting CSO coalition, which is a very diverse group of participants that are participating there. There is an environmental NGO. There is an association of private solar producers. There is an association of young Macedonian lawyers who provide the legal advice. There is a research institute and the anti-poverty platform, which is the idea that is to not be alone behind in the energy poverty. The advocacy they are doing is they are preparing analysis and. Okay, I'll just continue. I'm going to repeat myself. But so, like the initiative that this advocacy coalition is working is they are preparing a couple of legislative and regulatory analysis and changes that they're going to propose to the government to unlock the barriers for the uptake of solar energy at the household level. We know that the government is doing a lot when it comes to the big picture, but we also like to see that at a lower scale. When it comes to youth, we support youth through different of our programming. We are currently supporting the European Democracy Youth Network. It's EDEN, which is a network of pro-democracy youth activists and political leaders from political parties and civil society and journalists. Boyan is one of the members there, and the environment and energy topic is high on the agenda, together with depolarization of the political sphere and also civic engagement. Through this program, through this network, I know Boyan and the others, they very often go sit on panels with policymakers, with local leaders, with civil society, and they try to make their voice heard through this platform. So yeah, like I mean, energy is not our specialty. Like we do democracy, but since this is like important, it's been identified also like as a key programmatic objective of NDI. We are really pushing forward, and we have some great work being done currently in North Macedonia, but also in the 6 Western Balkan countries.
Thank you, Nasser. I know that democracy is very near with the green ideology, so it's a very important topic for us here. I have a very short question for you. I know that somehow you're expert for some things in the green issues. What do you think, very short? Is it possible to change the country here, very short, from fossil to clean energy? That's a very difficult question. I mean, because the power systems in the Western Balkans and also in Macedonia, they are the most polluting ones. The share of coal in the energy systems is very high. It goes from 80 to 100%. Like Kosovo and Bosnia, they are close to 100%. Macedonia is working very hard in that direction. The transformation started, but COVID, then the war in Ukraine, the energy crisis which we recently had, they all kind of, blocked that process going forward. There is a lot of investments going on in the country, and we will still have to see the benefits of those. But I mean, the transformation has begun, and that's a good thing. The other good thing is the region has a high potential of solar, so renewables are the future.
through the declaration, which the Deputy Minister just mentioned, the Sofia Declaration, the Green Deal. They have committed to join the European Green Deal in a way and to fully decarbonize by the end of 2050, like by the end of this next 27 years. So yeah.
So great, yeah. It's possible. It's evident. So yeah, we have that luck to have great sun and wind here in this country. We have great geographic position. But while we are talking about the energy crisis, I want to ask Melanie, like Europe, we are facing energy crisis during the last period. Based on your opinion, how we can face some similar global challenges with which concrete actions will create cross-border cooperation in Europe? Is it possible, and how we can help each other while we are facing a crisis like this? It's not here only in Macedonia, it's a European crisis, so your opinion about that?
Thank you so much. So you just mentioned the energy crisis and how we can face similar crises. And if we look at my generation, we hear a lot about the period of multiple crises, right? It started with the financial crisis, it went on with the so-called refugee crisis. We have the climate crisis. I think the climate crisis is actually a crisis. It's not only an opportunity. Global health crisis, you name it. And last year we were again also struck with a full-scale invasion war in our neighborhood. And what happened in Ukraine is undoubtedly a real security crisis. I struggle a bit with the label, the period of multiple crises, because I sometimes feel it's a period of multiple proclaimed crises. So they put my generation in a state of constant alert. And if you're alert, you're at the same time never. So when the full-scale war in Ukraine broke out, I saw that a lot of people my age didn't
Europe. And so I believe one thing that we have to do is to, when we face challenges in Europe, to first exhaust all means of our legal systems, of our law systems, of our normal politics to deal with the issues before we go to security station. Because we, as I said, if we are always in a crisis mode, we're at the same time never. And another thing that I think is very important is strategic foresight. And I mean, the war in Ukraine is raging since 2014. It's almost 10 years now. Of course, now we have the full-scale invasion, but Europe had quite some time to realize that the Russian Federation is no reliable partner when it comes to that, and could have become more independent from Russian gas within the last almost 10 years. You also mentioned cross-border cooperation, and as we already heard, the energy transition is very connected to environmental change, and the environment is crossing borders. We have the air does not know borders, rivers do not know borders, lakes do not know borders. We see it here. Ochrid is a good example for that in Prespa. So Europe, and I mean whole Europe, it's not only the European Union, it's also aspiring members and beyond, needs to turn to credible partners and gain some energy independence. Because if Europe wants to credibly communicate its values, it cannot allow itself to be blackmailed for standing to our basic principles, like solidarity with Ukraine. So if you look at countries rich in fossil fuels, many of them do not convince with the human rights standards. So yeah, I think the best way would actually be to turn and invest more in renewables. And we have the means. Some countries have more wind, some countries have more sun. In the near future, presumably nobody can cut us off from that. Maybe it's a bit more difficult with water, which we have also seen in the Ukraine war. So yeah, I think these are the two important things: are strategic foresight and cross-border cooperation in renewable energies with reliable partners.
Yeah, I think we all starting to change our mindset about climate change crisis. It's going to be after the migration crisis, after it's going to be a lot problems. But I think even the Europe starting to put the climate crisis and the climate change in the top of the priorities. Yeah, it was before the Russian aggression in Ukraine, but now with the war we are facing double the problems. I have a very short question. I know that you're from Austria. I know that a lot of young people were on the streets protesting against the climate change. How was the reaction in the public after that huge protest? I think a lot of people, young people were on the streets, high schools, I don't know, students and a lot of people, supporting by the teachers in one period and the professors.
I think it's very interesting what Greta Thunberg has triggered all over Europe, I mean actually globally, because I think before that it was also always that the young people, like people said, oh, they're so apolitical, they do not engage in politics, and Greta really like triggered something in the young people, and they went on the streets. It was really big in Austria, the school strikes, and I think at first it actually was pretty much appreciated in the national communication and national politics, but over the time there was more and more criticism to it. People said, oh, they just don't want to go to school, and I found it really hard because this was just like not taking the people, the young people going to the streets serious, and the largest part of them was really serious with that. I'm absolutely convinced. And finally the young people were getting political, right? And showing that on the streets. So I think it's difficult. I think it faded a lot, and there was a lot of said, oh, it's naive, and we cannot do that, and it takes time and everything, and I understand that. But you need ideologies to change something. We heard it, this empowerment. We need the empowerment. We, I think also in the video in the beginning, they said something about let me just see quick. Yeah, the transformative power, right? So encourage young people that they have the transformative power, and don't tell them, oh, you just don't want to go to school if you go to the streets and protest for your beliefs.
Yeah, thank you. That's very important. For that I'm asking, because youth activism is very connected with the next speaker. Vladimir, you're coming from one of the biggest, maybe the biggest youth organization in North Macedonia. The working of the scouts here and in Europe is very impressive. What you are doing, I'm very impressed of what you are working here in the way of creating policies, in the way of creating actions for a better society. I want to ask you how we, like youth people, can create opportunities for youth and engage other young people in actions, community projects, and creating public policies. And how scouts are sharing the green idea in the country, in Europe.
Yeah, thank you. So basically, in the question is your answer. Basically, the keyword here is opportunities. So scouting is basically everything around opportunities. As a movement all around the world, all around Europe, Macedonia, we create opportunities for kids and young people to gain skills for life, and for through those skills for life to influence on certain policies, to act on a local level, on national levels, and to be part of the change, leading the change, and participate in what we believe. So basically, like in scouting, yes, we do the camping, we do hiking, we do biking, rafting, and everything. But that's just the methodology, and that's just a tool of what we want to achieve. Through the program that we are implementing, through a non-formal program that we are implementing, we act as a bridge between several stakeholders on a local and national levels. We act as a bridge between formal education and the real needs of the kids and young people. We act as a bridge between national institutions, between the ministries, between the civil society organization, and as a movement working grassroots through our scouting units and through our volunteers. So basically, the scouting program is something that creates opportunities, something that give direction to the future for the kids. So for the kids, we tend to believe that we create kids with can-do and will-do attitude, and that's something that our volunteers are eager to transfer to them. So to wrap up on the how we are doing things, while the colleagues were speaking, I realized something, like what we are doing basically is that we take these keynotes, we take these policies, strategies, and we transform them on the language that our population and our kids can understand. They can't understand terms such as energy transition. They can't understand terms such as green ideology, but they can understand real actions and real message, such as leave the world better than you found it, make one good deed per day, or always the one who is stronger helps the one that is weaker. Always be prepared, always believe in yourself, and always believe to others. So scouting program is something awesome that we are doing, and basically the main product at the end is the values that the kids and the young people are gaining at the end product of the whole life journey in the Scout Association. Basing on the data, we have volunteers who are more than 6 years volunteering on a local level in implementing these programs, and more than 8 years participating in these programs as beneficiaries. So yes, we are one of the biggest organizations, and yes, we will always try to work and be the bridge between the one that the ministries are creating as a policy and as a support, and the young people who want to be the change and who want to lead the change on a local level. We create a lot of innovative campaigns, projects such as projects for reforestation of the burnt areas. We take burning problems and we address that problems through what we do best, and that's the non-formal education of young people in elementary and high school, and actions through voluntary action where we plant trees and working together with private companies who are sponsoring these events, through the ministries and through the national agencies who are supporting with their logistical willingness and human resources. Yes.
Yeah, let's go a little bit international. I know that you are part of like Scouts North Macedonia. You are part of World Organization of Scouts. So what about your activities in international? How you support each other?
Yeah, so scouting, there are more than 15 million scouts in the world, and on European level we are part of the European scouting region, and part of the region, the really big deal is the green ideology. As a movement, we strive to be, we try to work towards zero footprint, meaning that for every footprint that we will do as a movement, we will try to compensating by our deeds. Unfortunately, Macedonia is not the best in compensating those the footprint that we leave behind us, related with the transport opportunities, related with the air pollution, related with the waste management, etc., etc. But on a European level and the world level, as a movement, we try to help in the effort of the global family to achieve the goal.
Thank you, Vlatko. I know that you're awesome and you're working awesome work. I have very short question for all of you, but with very short answer. What climate justice means to you? If someone asks you in the street, what climate justice means to you? What's your first thing that they're coming on your mind? Very short.
Social justice. Climate justice is social justice. I think that's something that you mentioned. We need a value-based approach. We cannot leave anyone behind. We need solutions that are not just consumer decisions, but solutions that work for every young person, no matter what their socioeconomic background is.
Thank you.
Climate justice is again a fancy word that even I don't understand. So again, climate justice probably is something that we all together need to work towards to achieve. We have a problem and working towards it.
For me, it is that people don't have to deal with the consequences of more privileged people's actions.
Thank you. For me, it means climate neutrality, so zero emissions of greenhouse gas emissions.
Thank you. Climate justice means that we should not left no one behind. We should do the green transition together.
And the last one, if you want.
If I may say, da, se sluša? Climate justice is being fair to everybody and taking care for the climate changes and everything else.
Thank you for all of you. A lot of people will gonna ask this question in the future, so it's gonna be very great question. It's a lot of government, a lot of institutions gonna work in this with this topic, with this issue. Now it's time for questions, Q&A session. So it's open for just be relaxed, ask whatever you want. Our speakers are here, so just raise your hand and you can ask your question here. Maybe we give all the, okay, we have one here.
I have a question you can all answer. Do you think if the country has a Ministry of Youth, can be more of a help doing this, solving this problem? Thank you. And do you support?
Who want to start? It's a very good question.
I can speak for the Austrian case, because we actually have for the first time a Secretary of State, which is just dealing with youth agendas. I think it did help in the sense of bringing youth in, saying youth is an important topic, but then in the end, it always depends what the person does. I'm very critical of it because I believe it was a bit of tokenism more than actually doing it. So I think you need to be very critical with it, that it's no tokenism, because youth tends to be used as a token.
Okay, for me it's just that in all ministries and all political agendas, all generations should be considered already. I don't think we need a distinctive ministry for youth, because youth is also a quite diverse group. We have, I mean, there are different political specters. If you look at European youth, young people in different countries have different issues and realities to deal with. So I think that politics must just like encompass the interests of all people, also thinking of young people, but also thinking of old people. So I don't think there is actually the need for it.
I wanted to mention that according to a poll that I saw, there was less young people taking part in the election process. So this gives a message that people, if they are not included in the policy decision making, they are less interested in politics. And we are facing the problem of the brain drain in our country as well, and also in the region. And what I wanted to say, it's not only the Ministry of Youth, but I want to see youth engaged in all levels of the government and on the public institutions in order to give their best for to make the youth voice heard in all dimensions. That's why.
Can I? Yes. I have opposite thinking than all of you. Probably because I'm still included in the youth work and the youth policies on a national level. Yes, I believe that we need Ministry of Youth, and the main reason for that is that now the narrative is that the youth should be cross-sectorial, that all ministries should work on youth and youth-related question. But the reality is that when it's cross-sectorial, then it's like the really small paragraph in the strategies of all the ministries that they're working. They might or they won't implement the youth priorities. If we have a ministry that have full focus on the youth needs, the migration of young people, the education, the non-formal education, the skills for life, the climate justice, everything that you mentioned, maybe the youth will be put more on the pedestal, and the ministry will start working towards the thing that they want to achieve. Now we have the national youth strategy that it's again cross-sectorial that like 6 ministries need to implement in the end, and we know how the last national strategy ended, like with the either low level of engagement of the young people, of the ministries, results, and etc., etc. So that's wrapping up.
I think we do not necessarily need Ministry for Youth. I think that's just a form. But I think that we should support young people in investing in innovative ideas, in green technologies, and good education about environmental protection. And later on, I do think that should go into the politics so they could make changes in the society. It's good when they are on the street, but we should learn to make institutional changes, to make the changes through the institutions. Thank you.
Okay, I think most of you answered this question. Like, I mean, I have a divided opinion on this. Like, there should be like a Ministry of Youth. I would say it's more like it needs to be shared between like the different portfolio ministries, in my opinion. But when it comes to the energy transition, yeah, youth can be engaged in what can be done in the energy transition. Like, I think some ministries are relevant. Like, I mean, here we have the Ministry of Environment, who's always fighting for these ambitions, for their program, for their agenda. Then on the other side, we have the Ministry of Economy, who kind of needs to also bring forward the interests of the industry. Like, and I know there is always this kind of yeah, like polarization between them. But the most important one, I would say, we need to bring forward the Ministry of Finance. I mean, there's the money. They have to green the finances, because it's going to be, at the end of the day, it's going to be the only word. So when it comes to the energy transition, like, I mean, what can you do? Like, I mean, they should keep governments accountable. I mean, we have the Paris Agreement. I mean, speaking from my country, we have the Green Deal. We have signed that we're going to become carbon neutral by 2050. So it's a short, very short time. I mean, time is running. It's not starting today. I mean, we are already late about that. So there are targets about the renewable share in the energy mix, like the government has committed. Then there are targets about the energy efficiency. I don't know the exact number, so I have some old numbers. I don't want to like make a mistake on that. But I mean, it's easy. Just look at the targets and tell the government, tell the policymakers, hey, you are not doing a job to meet these targets by the end of 2030. Like, because by the end of 2030, we have, like, the EU has committed to lower the, to raise the share of renewables to 55%. Like, they have the Fit for 55 strategy, and yeah, like 2030 it's already there. Like, I mean, some countries in Europe, they are also going very fast in electromobility, so electrical cars. Most countries, like the Netherlands, Norway, and some other ones, they will ban the cars on gas, so it's going to be fully electrical. Where are we on that? I don't know. We need to accelerate that process as well. There are. I mean, I'd like just to continue with something else. So, like, there are 4 sectors, in my opinion, that needs to be decarbonized: the energy, or the power systems, which is the most problematic. Then buildings. We need to put tougher legislation on new buildings. I know the construction industry in our country is it fills the GDP. Like, it's, when I talk to economists and to business sector, they say what's the biggest industry we have? And say is the construction, is a building. Everybody's investing there, so that's I mean, it's not good. I mean, it's not producing. It's just like building, and in that sense, so it's hard to stop this process, because I mean, it's going to damage the finances and the economy. But we have to, like, kind of, I mean, not go so radical, just ban all new constructions that are not like zero carbon. They don't have zero carbon emissions. But I mean, there should be like some tougher legislation on that, like on how we build, how we construct. Then renovation. I think renovation is also very important when it comes to energy efficiency. And we have like we have a lot of old buildings that need to be like, I mean, more energy efficient. There is a lot of loss of energy and a lot of it's a lot of loss of energy. So there is also like a need for to upscale the renovation and promote that. We have the industry there. They can help through technologies and so on and so on. And when it comes to this question, I know that there have been like some surveys asking people how would they invest in their homes. Like the motivation doesn't come from the energy or the renewables. It comes more for health reasons, and comfort. That's the finding. That's what the findings say. So like, I mean, civil society is very important. The biggest problem, I mean, the driving force and driving factor can be air pollution. I mean, this is kind of can escalate a bit the things. Maybe all these numbers that we are speaking here about, they're a bit like niche and they don't look so logical to us as it sounds like to some people in other people that are more specialized on this. But I mean, yeah, like look at the targets, look at the country ambitions, and try to keep the government accountable.
Thank you, Nasser. From my side, I will give you one small homework. Just check how many MPs, young MPs, we had in the parliament. After that, we can speak about all of this. I know that we are on time. I want first to thank you for all of you for the attention. I want to thank for this awesome speakers today. Thanks to the Prespa Forum Dialogue for this opportunity. From this side, I'm going to share two messages, very important messages. As we know, we are in Struga, so my message is to let's protect the Ohrid region. Let's do not go away from UNESCO status. It's very important for us. And the other short thing is that let's change the system, not the climate. Thank you for attention. Let's have 2 very good days. And I know that now we're going to have a very small coffee break, and after that we continue. Thank you.